tonight's live news coming to you from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The State Council Office reviews a number of studies by the committees, including reality of distance learning policies and the legislative and regulatory controls for electronic trade. The media meeting in Muscat focuses on the participation of the Sultanate of Oman in the G20 meetings and fields that support international trade. Oman Investments Authority signs a memorandum of collaboration with the SMEs Development Authority to support entrepreneurship sector. And with the participation of the Sultanate of Oman, the Gulf Vision 2023 conference reviews in Paris, enhancing commercial cooperation between the Gulf Cooperation Council countries and France. Thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. State Council Office discussed in its meeting today the two topics presented by Technical and Innovation Committee on studying electric cars and legislative and regulatory controls of electronic trade. The meeting as well discussed services rendered to persons with disabilities in the Sultanate of Oman. The study aims to highlight statistics related to the reality of the segment in addition to acquainting with policies, legislations, researches in addition to regional and international experiences in this regard, as well as challenges facing persons with disabilities. It reviewed the study presented on the reality of distance learning and its legislations, as well as means of its developments and its challenges. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Sheikh Abdul Malik bin Abdullah Al Khalili, Chairman of the State Council. The Sultanate of Oman has welcomed the decision of the U.S. government to resume its membership in the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, starting next July. In a statement issued by the Foreign Ministry, the Sultanate of Oman expressed its appreciation for this step, which reaffirms the United States' commitment to international cooperation in the fields of education, science and culture, and its supports for UNESCO in implementing its noble mission to promote peace, sustainable development, protection of world cultural heritage, dialogue between nations and peoples, and facilitating the exchange of knowledge and experiences among them. To take advantage of the policies, regulations and initiatives that enhance the business system issued by the G20, a media meeting was held by the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investments Promotion in Muscat on the participation of the Sultanate of Oman in the G20 meetings in the Republic of India, which aims to enhance dialogue between the largest industrialized countries with economies that support global growth.
The participation of the Sultanate of Oman in the G20 meetings is important to enrich the fields of knowledge by exchanging expertise and experiences with the participating countries and working to highlight its efforts in the areas discussed by the group to enhance partnership with the international community and discuss the most important common issues such as trade and investment and facilitating international trade. During its attendance at a series of meetings in the Republic of India, the Sultanate of Oman reviewed a number of economic challenges and proposals for solutions that would contribute to achieving the targeted global dimensions in addition to the vision of Oman 2040.
Oman stands to gain in terms of knowledge, in terms of policy, in terms of the way the multilateral banks are going to reshape themselves going forward in accessing all the resources required in economies to grow. I think that is one thing. Number two, the networking that we're doing with fellow economies, both developed and developing economies and emerging countries, is unprecedented because we have a year to make friends, to find allies in who is going to be working with Oman in the kind of direction that Oman wants to go in terms of achieving its own sustainable goals.
The meetings dealt with several sectors such as economic diversification, education development, scientific research and innovation, the health sector, in addition to the tourism sector, public debt management, logistics and supply chains.
So in this economy is what we do in these G20 meetings is basically align with the larger economies which have taken certain direction in terms of, let's say, the energy transition. So Oman is looking at hydrogen. Is everyone else also looking at hydrogen, or are they looking at methanol? Are they looking at biofuels? So we will get to find out which way this thing is happening. Plus, we're looking at even medicines. During the pandemic, we could not get hold of medicines.
The Sultanate of Oman has organized a set of bilateral meetings on investment issues in various sectors: barrier-free trade, energy, technology transfer, and sustainable development. Since its establishment, the G20 has a protocol of inviting other countries as participating guests in order to enhance geographical balance to include all regions around the world.
The Omani Hajj mission left for the Holy Land headed by Sultan bin Saeed Al Hinai, head of the Omani Hajj mission. During its presence in Mecca and Medina, the Omani Hajj mission will serve the Omani pilgrims in the Holy Lands and supervise their performance of their rituals with ease. The mission includes the Fatwa and Religious Guidance Delegation, the Administrative and Financial Delegation, the supervision of Hajj companies, the Medical Delegation, the State Audit Institution, the Royal Oman Police, the Media and Scout Delegation. The members of the mission were seen off at Muscat International Airport by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Saeed Al Ma'mari, Minister of Endowments and Religious Affairs.
Today, Omani Hajj delegation will leave the Sultanate to the Holy Lands, inshallah, to do arrangements as soon as it reaches there, to make sure its readiness to receive Omani pilgrims, and to make sure it will be ready to support, to provide its different services for the Omani pilgrims, inshallah. Regarding the figures and numbers, nearly 58.5 will travel by air, and 41.5 will travel by land. Alhamdulillah. Till the moment, 87% of the Omani pilgrims have completed all the requirements, and they have already got their Hajj permissions. So, inshallah, and within the next few days, by tomorrow, we expect, inshallah, all of them will complete all their permits.
May Allah facilitate their mission. Oman Investments Authority signed a memorandum of collaboration with SMEs Development Authority. More details coming up in this report.
Within its efforts to maximize local industries and boost in-country value, the Oman Investment Authority and the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Authority signed a memorandum of cooperation. The MOC aims to support entrepreneurs through in-country value programs of Oman Investment Authority companies.
Mainly, we focus to introduce a new finance program for the SMEs, which can increase also the market share to get a lot of or more of contract, and also we introduce a new supplier development program and able to develop the skills and the requirements to match whatever the private companies within the investment authority.
The cooperation program comprises a financing scheme for small and medium enterprises that have obtained contracts from companies of the Oman Investment Authority.
The finance side of things, no doubt it's one of the main challenges that the entrepreneurs and SMEs faces in Oman. Hence today and through this basically memorandum of cooperation, we are introducing a new financial scheme that will help basically to bridge the gap of young entrepreneurs who are eventually contracted by one of OIA companies. It will help them basically to get the necessarily funding requirement through this special scheme that we signed today.
Under the financing scheme, small and medium enterprises that have obtained contracts will be financed at 80% of the contract or tender value and up to a maximum of 250,000 Omani riyals. This collaboration will further empower the local SMEs to play a bigger role in the national economy and enhance their contributions to the GDP. From Oman Investment Authority, Saleh Bakhalfan Al-Rahbi, Muscat.
The Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Royal Navy of Oman, today hosted the 21st meeting of the leaders of the naval forces of Armed Forces of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries 2023. The meeting discussed the topics on its agenda, as well as the areas of military cooperation between the naval forces of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. It was presided over by Rear Admiral Saif bin Nasser al-Rahbi, Commander of the Royal Navy of Oman. The Sultanate of Oman participated in the Gulf Vision 2023 conference in the French capital, Paris. The conference aims to enhance commercial cooperation between the Gulf Cooperation Council countries and France, in addition to shed light on the growing markets by inviting key economic experts, government ministers, small business managers, representatives of startups, and senior executives. The event offered a platform for the promotion of cooperation in a wide range of sectors, from trade, sport and culture to energy and the environment. Given the threats posed by climate change to health, well-being and economic stability, Bruno Le Maire, the French Minister of Economy, Finance and Industry and Digital Sovereignty, told delegates Gulf countries have a vital role to play in the green energy transition, cutting greenhouse gas emissions and water conservation. The relationship between France and the GCC has been marked by significant political, economic and cultural developments in the past several years. Faced with global and systematic challenges, France and GCC nations are pursuing similar policies focusing on sustainability in addition to economic, political, geopolitical issues. Yet to come in our news bulletin, an exhibition at Mauritius Museum in The Hague highlights Vermeers Masterpiece, The Girl with a Pearl Earring painting. Once again, welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Royal Oman Police celebrated the operation of 20,000 hours on board of AW139 aircraft performing various duties and tasks. The event was presided over by His Excellency Engineer Naif bin Ali Al Abri, Chairman of Civil Aviation Authority, with the presence of the Italian Ambassador to the Sultanate of Oman, along with a number of officers from various departments of the Royal Oman Police. The tasks of the police aviation vary from search and rescue operations, carrying passengers, providing medical services, delivery of supplies, and transportation of VIPs, along with other operations. International World Blood Donor Day falls on the 14th of June every year. Royal Opera House Muscat contributed to this noble cause through the blood donation campaign organized in the south porch of the house today. Here is a report on that.
to raise awareness about the importance of blood donation and its precious value to the health sector within the Sultanate of Oman. Royal Opera House Muscat organised its 9th blood donation campaign today in its south porch to go in line with the International World Blood Donor Day, which is celebrated yearly on the 14th of June 2023.
I did my first donation 3 or 4 months ago, and when I saw this advertisement, I decided that I should repeat it. I'm healthy and ready to save lives, so why not to do this?
This blood donation campaign comes in cooperation with the Department of Blood Bank Services of the Ministry of Health. This initiative witnessed a participation of citizens and residents alike, as well as employees of Royal Opera House Muscat.
Luckily, this month I had completed the duration in which I can donate, so I was looking for an opportunity, and I was like, this is the right time I can donate. Well, it is very important to donate. In our religion, there is a hadith that saving one human's life is saving all of the humanity. So we all should come forward and contribute however we can. For example, today, I am donating. This one bottle of blood will save up to 3 lives.
It's noteworthy of mention that Royal Opera House Muscat launched its first blood donation campaign successfully back in 2014. This noble cause, organised annually by the house, reminds the society of its duty towards saving lives. Blood donation campaign happening here at the Royal Opera House Muscat only comes to ensure an important fact that we all can do our responsibility and role to save lives. For Oman TV, Ahmed bin Hilal al-Busaidi, Muscat.
Noble cause through blood donation there. Sultan Qaboos University is hosting the 3rd regional meeting of the National Bioethics Committees entitled Ethics and Governance of Innovation, Digital and Biotechnology of Eastern Mediterranean Arab States under the patronage of His Highness Sayyid Dr. Fahad bin Al-Julanda Al-Saeed, Vice Chancellor of Sultan Qaboos University. I was present this morning on that particular event and I have this report. Sultan Qaboos University is hosting the 3rd Eastern Mediterranean Arab States Regional Meeting of the National Bioethics Committees entitled Ethics and Governance of Digital Innovations and Biotechnology. The meeting, of which WHO and UNESCO jointly organized in cooperation with Oman National Bioethics Committee, started its activities this morning. At the beginning of the meeting, a number of speeches were presented from Oman National Bioethics Committee. WHO representative Dr. Jean Jabour spoke about the importance of this meeting and commended the Sultanate for hosting it. Mr. Saleh Khalid, Director UNESCO Doha office, in his speech stated that it's extremely relevant in our post-COVID-19 pandemic time. It's also very timely in our region as the global community will be meeting soon, building on the outcome of COP27 in Egypt to agree and move forward with bold, practical and ambitious solutions to the most pressing global challenge of our time, the climate change. The first day of the meeting included a panel discussions entitled Human Rights in Science for a More Exclusive Society, as well as a second panel discussion titled National Ethics Committees, Bioethics Committees in the Arab Countries Middle East Region, Capacity Development and Public Policy Dialogues from a National and Regional Perspective.
The UNESCO and WHO EMRO selected Oman and selected Omani National Bioethics Committee because of our dedication and contribution in bioethics in the region. Within a very short span, we managed to achieve a number of things, which now is to encourage others to follow the suit. The purpose and objective of this summit meeting is to share ideas from our fellow brothers in the region and to discuss our strong and weak points and the way forward.
This is a really important program for the region, and the commitment of the Sultanate of Oman and also the Sultan Qaboos University and the National Ethics Committee of the country is really important. The discussions here will focus on new challenges, new opportunities, and new areas of work in areas of ethics, especially in light of what we learned during the COVID pandemic and emergence of new threats that affects the health and the society at large, and how the ethics committees and national ethics bodies can play a better role in mitigating, in preventing, and also controlling such risk to the society.
The organization of this meeting comes with the aim of enhancing regional cooperation and coordination between committees in the region to collectively deal with emerging issues related to bioethics.
It's the third time that we meet regionally to explore ways of collaboration to address emerging ethical issues in the society. As we all learned during COVID is not a simple health crisis. It is also a social crisis. And we all know that climate change is not an environmental crisis only. It affects our society, and especially in the time of artificial intelligence, access to knowledge, sharing benefits of science. It is also a matter of social equality and social justice. This is why we are here to raise the standards of ethical approach to technology and innovation.
The meeting also aims to discuss and present mechanisms and methods of regional cooperation with a special focus on strengthening and developing the work of national bioethics committees. A huge reproduction of the girl with the pearl earring painting is helping art lovers unravel her mysteries. A new exhibition at Mauritius Museum in The Hague shows how Vermeers Masterpiece has changed over time. More details in this report.
She's got one of the most famous faces in the art world. And now, more of her secrets are being shared. Girl with a Pearl Earring is the jewel in the collection of the Hague's Mauritius Museum, and now she's bigger than ever. This 4-meter-high 3D print of Vermeers Masterpiece is on show in the foyer, allowing visitors to get up close and personal with one of the art's world's most iconic women. They can feel the texture of the painting and see every tiny detail magnified. A painting conservator says this huge reproduction was created to tell visitors more about the portrait's history.
We found out some really exciting things about the girl. For instance, that the background used to be a green curtain and that she has eyelashes that are now no longer visible because the paints have changed over time.
The new exhibition is called Who's That Girl? And includes the giant print and a digital presentation to show what the painting would have looked like when Vermeer applied the final brushstroke to the canvas in 1665. It took 88 hours to scan every detail of the painting and 200 hours for the massive work to be 3D printed. Who's That Girl? Opened on June 8th and runs until the 7th of January 2024.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The State Council Office reviews a number of studies by the committees, including reality of distance learning policies and the legislative and organizational controls for electronic trade. The media meeting in Muscat focuses on the participation of the Sultanate of Oman in the G20 meetings and fields that support international trade. Oman Investments Authority signs a memorandum of collaboration with the SMEs Development Authority to support the entrepreneurship sector. And with the participation of the Sultanate of Oman, the Gulf Vision 2023 conference reviews in Paris, enhancing commercial cooperation between the Gulf Cooperation Council countries and France. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Thank you for joining us and good night.